Let's talk about order of operations. Operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And what we're talking about today is how you know in which order should you do them. There's a special acronym called PEMDAS that can help us. The first thing that you have to do when you see a problem that looks something like this is to do the parentheses. So the first thing you would solve in this problem is 4 plus 2. The next thing you need to look for is any exponents. Exponents are the small little numbers that hang up above another number, sort of like this little number I put over the 2, only we're not going to use that today. The next thing you do, in the order in which it appears in the problem, is either the multiplication or division. So in this case, the next thing we would do is multiply by 3. Finally, we do the addition or subtraction as it appears in the problem. Don't worry, we're going to go over an example again right now. Using that same example of 4 plus 2 in parentheses times 3 minus 2. The first thing we do is the P, which is parentheses. So I'm going to do 4 plus 2 is 6 times 3 minus 2. The next thing I do is exponents. This problem does not have any exponents. The next thing I do is either multiplication or division. In this problem, the first thing I come to is a multiplication problem. So 6 times 3 is 18 minus 2. The last thing I'll do, in this case, because there's only one step left, is the subtraction problem. Now you might be asking yourself, what would happen if I did that in a different order? Let's take a look at that same problem. If I do 4 plus 2 times 3 minus 2, again, same problem, but I choose to do it in a different order. I would do 4 plus 2 times 1. And then maybe I would do 4 plus 2 is 6 times 1. And 6 times 1 is 6. You can see I did not get the same answer. I did this problem incorrectly. This, using the order of operations, is the correct way to do it. Let's try another one. 5 divided by 1 plus 7. When I look at this, the first thing I ask myself is, are there any parentheses? No. Are there any exponents? No. Is there any multiplication or division? There sure is, and the first problem I come to is division. So 5 divided by 1 is 5, and then I bring down the plus 7. 5 plus 7 is 12. That's the correct answer. Let's try another one. 10 plus 6 divided by 4. Are there any parentheses? Yes. So I'm going to do the parentheses first. 10 plus 6, 16 divided by 4. Are there any exponents? No. Is there multiplication or division? Clearly. Last thing I'm going to do is that division. The answer is 4. Let's try it in a slightly different way. 6 divided by 10 divided by 10. I'm tempted to do this part first, but I can't. I have to do the parentheses first. So I'm going to copy this part of the problem down and do this part of the problem. And 10 divided by 10 is 1. So I'm left with 6 divided by 1. I can get rid of the parentheses if I'd like to rewrite that, and the answer is 6. Now I'd like you to try 8 minus 3 times 1. Pause right now and solve this. How'd you do? The first thing you should have noticed is there's parentheses. So 8 minus 3 is 5 times 1. And now the last thing I have to do is multiplication. And so the answer is 5. But they can get trickier. Take a look at the next slide. Try this one. 3 to the power of 2 plus 4 divided by 2. Now, remember, and if you need to, go back to the first slide and look at the order in which you do your operations. I'll pause now and let you solve this. Ready? The first thing I notice is there's no parentheses, so I'm going to go on to exponents. No parentheses, I'm going to go on to exponents. So the exponents, 3 squared is 9. I'll bring down the rest of the problem. I won't try and do it in my head because they're going to get complicated quickly. The next thing I ask myself is, are there any more exponents? No. So that moves me down to the division and multiplication. There is division in here, and it comes at the end of the problem. So I'm going to bring down my plus 9 and do the division. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And finally, I'm going to go ahead and do my addition and subtraction, plus it's the last thing I can do, and my answer is going to be 11. How did you do? Let's try another one. This one's a bit of a stinker, and if you don't get it, that's okay. Do try it, and then if you need to, just stick around and see how I did it. 5 minus 8 divided by 8 times 4. Again, the first thing I need to ask myself is parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So, in this problem, the first thing I see are parentheses, so I'm going to have to do that first. But within the parentheses, there is division, which is the next thing that comes up. So I'm going to do the division first, and in the parentheses, I'm going to say 5 minus 8 divided by 8, which is 1, times 4. Then I'll go back to, again, I still have parentheses. 5 minus 1 is 4, and then bring down the times 4. 4 times 4, 16. How did you do? Ready for another challenge? Remember, these are just for challenge for you. If you can't do them, don't worry about it. 2 divided by 2 times 4 to the second power. The first thing I want to do is remind myself of the rules. Now let's solve this. I do parentheses first. Within the parentheses, though, are there any exponents? No. Is there any division or multiplication? Yes. So I'm going to do that first. 2 divided by 2, and then bring down the times 4 and the parentheses. Now I'm still going to solve within the parentheses because parentheses is the first thing we do. So 1 times 4 is 4, and now bring down the 2. Now I'm going to do the exponents, and you can see my problem is done. 4 squared, which is 4 2 times, is 16. How'd you do that time? Here we go. 5 in parentheses 6 divided by 6 to the third power. Again, first thing I look for is parentheses. So I'm going to solve this. Now I'm going to look for, well, actually before I say that, what's going on right here? How do I know what to do with this 5 and 1? When you see a number like that, you know that is 5 times 1. But I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that as 5 times 1 to the third power, because the third power goes with that 1. Now, what is 1 to the third power? Well, what is 1 times 1 times 1? Right. 5 times 1, and the answer is 5. How did you do that time? The order of operations is just a way to remind you of the order that you need to follow them. I'm going to write it here one last time, and I'd like you to copy this down on your note paper, please. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, or division. It's important to remember that it needs to be whichever comes first. So it does not matter in the problem. Multiplication is not the first thing you have to do. When you look at the problem, does division come first or multiplication come first? And the same with the last step, which is addition or subtraction. Again, it does not matter which one comes first. That's what you're going to do first. I can't wait to see you tomorrow.